This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded June 16th, 2014, Episode 203, Emerging External Eupsychics.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
On the road again. Can't wait to get on the road again.
Yes. I have the travel bug lately, Dave, and I don't know what to do about it. No,
Not go home. That's what you're doing about.
Yeah, you know, the home still feels good. I mean, that's where the lab is and everything else. That's where my fancy new scope is and everything. But no, yeah, I'm on the road. I'm in San Diego, and yeah, it's interesting. You know, seeing new parts of the country and everything. So yeah, it's mostly travel for like the 2 weekends in a row is weddings. You know how that goes.
Right.
Like,
okay,
there's that certain time period in everyone's life when all their friends start getting married, and
of course, I'm
looking forward to that being over. I mean, I love my friends, but I just don't want to travel every weekend in the summer. So.
Well, for me, that was about... Actually, it was about your age, yes. That was about 10 years ago, that everyone was getting married. And we'll just go, and every second weekend was a bloody wedding.
Right. And then it dies out, and
of course, totally. We haven't been to a wedding in years, you know.
Right, you start going to second weddings eventually, right? That's what...
Right, yeah, exactly.
And, baby showers and everything else. Yeah, the usual life patterns, Yeah,
it suddenly becomes babies instead of, stupid christenings and crap like that.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm out in San Diego right now, and I was in Arizona, and I'm going to DC, but it's all personal stuff. So, but the interesting thing is I'm going to be working on the road as well. So I have a lot of my gear with me, and I don't have my full Portalab with me, but I do have.
Oh, okay.
Just carry on stuff. A lot of the CE stuff. Actually, Contextual Electronics ended yesterday.
Oh, okay. And how'd they go? That was the second round, was it?
Yeah, it was the second...
series or whatever.
Yeah. So session 1B. And so that was like we were building the stuff we designed in 1A. And we didn't get... we got to like everything was proven out. Everything was up and working.
Right.
And but nothing was like refined or perfect, right? So
of course. Yeah,
we're going to keep going and actually, like all the people are going to keep... a lot of people are still kind of catching up. And we'll also be designing, the version 2. So, actually having it move towards a better open source project. That's kind of the idea.
Right. Okay, cool. And when does it become open source?
Well, right now. I mean, it's all on GitHub.
Oh, right. You can download it. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Okay. All the Gerbers and Gerbers, KiCad files, everything's up there. So you can go
Sweet.
download it right now. It's github.com/contextual electronics. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Just like Tesla.
Just like
not quite.
Not quite. Yeah, they actually have something valuable, but that was awesome.
That was freaking awesome. How awesome was that?
Can you believe that? Like
the audacity of and it's a brilliant business move too. If you think he's doing it just for the the warm fuzzies. Then no, you don't know Elon Musk. He's also doing it because he's trying to drive industry, he's trying to drive his competitors into doing something which in the end helps his bottom line as well. As well as achieving all his goals.
Yeah,
that's the clever thing. It helps him achieve all his goals that he's had for 20 years of seeing a future free of fossil fuel, converting to all solar renewable stuff and electric cars and space exploration, the whole thing, and it totally helps out. So, for those who haven't heard, do the rundown.
Well, so basically, they said that they're going to open source all their patents and basically release them into the public domain as much as they can. We talked last week about the logistics of a open source. Open sourcing commercial stuff, right?
Yeah, it's not quite that because by definition, a patent is open source. Well, it's open, right? It's open. You can go read it, right? But you're not allowed to use it. If you use the information, you get sued. So what he's effectively saying is, you can use the information and we won't sue you. My personal guarantee, we won't sue you.
Right.
So yeah, and that's fantastic.
That's a big deal. And
it's huge.
And you mentioned that you said it kind of drives competitors forward. It's a really good point because you think about the logistics and the supply chain side of things. And you think about, okay, so one company designs electric batteries. Obviously, they're building their own capacity. Tesla's building their own high capacity battery
the world's
factory.
Biggest lithium battery factory. Yep.
But it's not just about that, right? That's kind of just the important stuff that they know that they want to have control over. It's also about the remainder of the subsystems and everything else, right? When you start having components that everybody's using, right? The commoditized stuff, that starts driving that to the floor. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You can just start concentrating on the hard problems like the batteries, right? And you can start to have efficiencies in the things that you really care about, and everything else just is commodity. And really, when you open stuff up like that, everybody uses the same stuff, but nobody cares because it's commodity.
Well, but yeah, the trick here is that nothing's open, right? Tesla aren't saying, here's the schematics for our motor drive controllers, or here's exactly how we manufacture our battery packs and all that sort of stuff. No, this is all still proprietary information. But Tesla, have the world's biggest lithium battery factory and a special type of super fast charging lithium batteries, right? They practically own that technology. That's why other electric cars on the market can't charge as fast as the Tesla can and can't get the same range and capacity, because Tesla are world leaders in that. And now, here's Elon's brilliant idea, right? It forces the customers, right? Forces the consumers to now put pressure on the other car makers to go, well, why can't you produce a similar car that's compatible with all these Tesla stations popping up, right? And can charge just as fast and can get the same range. And then the manufacturers will go, okay, well, all right, how do we do that? Oh, we have to buy Elon's batteries.
Right.
Okay, right. And then he will force the standard for the fast charging system, right? There's already a standard out there, and Tesla went completely against it because they had to. Because the connectors would actually melt. The existing standard connectors out there would just melt completely if you try to charge at as high a current and power as you do with the Tesla car. So, so they had to use their own proprietary technology to do that. And other manufacturers will be forced to do the same. And it sort of brings the whole game up. And that's the brilliant business move, I think, is that... it'll force the other manufacturers to adopt the Tesla standards in order to compete. And, it does bring competition in, but Elon makes money in other ways. So, it's brilliant.
The other interesting thing I think about with Tesla is that, okay, so say they really did open everything else up, right? This is kind of the interesting thing about open source and everything else, right? I mean... Oftentimes, the competitive advantage is not the knowledge contained within. It's the volume and the
manufacturing efficiencies,
scale.
How you do your
the
business.
Efficiencies of scale, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's even better, where it's almost like him winking and saying, "Yeah, come and get me, bitches." That's kind of what I feel like it is. Oh,
totally. Because Tesla have one of the best factories in the world. If you've seen, we've talked about that documentary before that takes you behind the scenes of the Tesla factory, and it's like, holy shit, they've done it properly.
Right? Yeah. They've done all those robots and everything else. I mean, it's crazy, right?
The huge big stamping machines for the entire chassis. Bang, out it comes, and yeah,
right.
And
manufacturing.
But rightly, they're going to keep as they've always said, their biggest secret is their battery technology. That is their biggest secret. How they manufacture those packs, how they keep them from exploding, how they can so massively fast charge them, and the cooling system, how it keeps them cool. They've got a water cooling system to keep them cool and all that sort of jazz. And that's the killer. Because otherwise it's just a car, right? All the other car makers can make a car, right? And that's what they do.
Exactly.
Right? It's a chassis, it's got wheels, and, it's... No. But in this day and age, no, it's the battery pack. And the control system, Tesla's got that lovely touchscreen tablet and all the, all that sort of jazz.
Right. Yep.
And the remote firmware uploading of your car and, updating your car and all that jazz. So, that's where the secret sauce is.
So where from here, though? I mean, like, do we expect this from other big electronics and car manufacturers? What do you think?
Oh, I don't know. It's a pretty unique position. I mean, they haven't... Well, because they haven't open source, they haven't given up any technical information that's not already out there. They've just said, hey, we're not going to sue you. So maybe that will, I think that sentiment could flow on to other industries, but probably only if they, but not the big corporate ones. It has to be the ones run by a single guy like this who can just... because otherwise the suits always take over at the big companies, and the lawyers and the lawyers will just say, no, don't do it. Look, you can't just give away our patent portfolio. That's just ridiculous.
Right.
And but it's through the smaller parts of the industry. I don't think the big players are going to suddenly, we won't sue you for using our patents. No, that's just not going to happen. That's just not in their DNA.
Right, yeah.
So, but as a general groundswell, just as a general groundswell in this, because there's lots of anti-patent stuff going around now, and so there should be, because the system is bloody a joke. But and that's going to help that. It's going to help reinforce all that. Yeah, and of course it makes Elon out to be the coolest guy in history, if he wasn't already, right?
If he wasn't already, right? If he wasn't already Tony Stark, this will hopefully propel him to be that. Yeah,
exactly. And this just lifts him up to another level of like, how awesome is this guy, And that's all I seen from the comments in all the social media stuff and all the news and everything. It was just like, how cool is this guy, It's just great.
Oh man, yeah, he's awesome.
I love it. Yep.
He probably will never. I feel like we should mention he probably will never be on our show. I feel like that's like such a high bar to set that we should just state that now.
I think we have more chance of getting the Was on the show. I think we have an order of magnitude more chance of that than than getting Elon on. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But hey, never know.
Yeah, never say never.
Well, you're out that way. Just walk up to the door and say, hey, I'm here to do an interview with Elon. And they'll go, who are you? Try and big note yourself. Don't you know who I am? I'm Chris Gamble from the Amp Hour.
I'm internet famous, damn it.
Yeah, wear one of those shirts. I'm famous on the internet,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, boy. Yes.
Yeah.
Go on.
So what's new with you, man? I've seen some of your videos lately. What have you been up to?
Oh, me? I don't know. I fixed the TV. That was exciting. Just uploaded that video
what's
this
up with
morning.
that? Why are you fixing TVs? I don't understand.
Well, it's my mum's TV. It's my mum's TV, and I can't just go,
okay.
no, I can't, I've got to go, okay, I'll take a look at it, not with much hope. But I'll take a look at it, and then and I fixed it. As always with engineering, I fixed it with 5 minutes to spare before I had to leave to go pick her up to bring her over to a party we were having, and she was going to answer, well, I want my TV back, and I literally just fixed it. Like, I walked out the door, grabbed it, put it under my arm, and big smirk on my face. Yes, I fixed the bastard.
Of course I fixed it. Yeah, of course.
Right.
You think you raised me not to fix this type of thing, right? Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, but I probably could have eventually fixed it, but it's the time. Like, okay, if it was a dead processor board, I could have ordered another processor board, and wait a couple of weeks till it's delivered, and but it's one of those things that.
Yeah, you're not gonna like reflow the board.
No. I could. That would have been a desperate last effort. It could have been. It might have been the BGA in there, like a dodgy joint. So, if I got desperate, I would have taken the whole board out, whacked it in the reflow oven, and reflowed it again, and maybe to cross your fingers and hope that fixes it. But it's one of those stab in the dark things.
Pretty narrow set of characteristics that actually would have been the case then, right?
Yeah, but you pretty much can narrow it down to a board. It's not, or it's the panel. Is it the power supply? No, you check that. Okay, is it the processor board? Well, no, it's not. It's not that really, and that's where I ended my first video. And everyone keeps bitching and moaning, oh, why didn't I fix it in the first video? It's because I ran out of time. And, that's how I do things. If you must be new to my blog. As soon as I shoot a video, I upload it. I'm not like some other bloggers out there. Yeah, they might work for a month repairing something, and then they'll put up the polished repair video at the end of it. Well, okay, that's how they do it, but that's not how I work. I shoot a bit of info and I upload it, even if it's incomplete. So but that just brings in the whinges.
Well, it's tough. So I have a lot of now I have a lot of experience with this as well, and it's tough when you're trying to explain to someone else. So like what the steps are to get through to from beginning to end. It's like you want to show people the struggle of
That's right.
Well, what do I look at next? But then on the other hand, it's like you don't want 3 hours of video where it's just, oh, it wasn't that, it wasn't that, it becomes a difficult problem. And so,
I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have, put 5 hours worth of material out there of me fixing it. But in the end, I did like 45 minutes worth of material of me fixing it. And that's almost real time, of what it took me to solve that problem. Maybe not quite, I edited out a few little things, but generally, it's almost real time of what it actually took me to fix the thing and the steps I actually went through to fix it. So, I think that's important to show. But it gets to a point where it's too many steps, and you have to make a choice, So,
well, I think ultimately it becomes a larger discussion about like online education in general, right? Do you have a very concise explanation of things, or do you actually show the struggle involved?
Do you have the 5-minute video? Do you have the 5-minute polished video?
Exactly.
Or do you have the 10-part series of 1 hour long videos each?
Right, because different people are going to get different things from each one. Obviously, you and I are both in kind of the same space on this one. It's tough to straddle that gap there, but it can be important for some people, for the people that do learn in real time like that. It's like it's important for those folks, but the ones who want the concise stuff, and ultimately it comes down to like you have to offer both. You have to show the concise version, you have to show the long term version, and hope that everybody kind of gets what they need.
Well, if you want both audiences, only if you want both audiences. I mean, I like what's the point in having like a one of those 2-minute videos of what a capacitor is? I just there's only so there's not much you can learn in a couple of minutes, really.
Right.
And this is a complex technical field that we're in. It's not a 50-second hack from Kip K. It's right. It's just a totally different field.
So that kind of brings up the thing I want to talk about this week was so Udacity just came out with a thing called nanodegrees. Did you hear about this? I just posted.
Who's Udacity? Who's that?
So Udacity is the online course site. It's kind of like Khan Academy, but more commercial.
Right.
So they have like paid and unpaid.
Okay.
And so what they've started doing though is they want to be able to actually certify people, right? Because that's ultimately the thing in online degrees. There's no certification really. It's like, I took the class, I passed it, but
of course.
There's no real like regulated version that says I finished stuff. Now with my stuff, I say if you build the board and it works, that's ultimately your pass or fail. Like I don't care how you got there.
And you can take that along to your job interview.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, and that's the point. But like a lot of this stuff, like a lot of these other softer subjects, it's like yeah, you need that. You need some kind of centralized board, and so. But nano degrees are this new thing. So Udacity's like Khan Academy. It has this stuff. It's an online course thing. It's Sebastian Thrun, one of the guys from Google X, and so now they're basically going to start certifying people. You go through their courses, you can become. There's 4 listed here: data analyst, front end web, back end web developer, and then iOS developer. And I wonder if this is actually a thing that this is a big deal going into the 21st century, with high costs and everything like that too. If this is a realistic thing for electronics, if it actually could work, and I don't know. I don't know if it would ever. I don't know.
Well, it's going to work in some respects and it won't work in others. It's just like anything, There'll be ultimately by work. What do you mean? As a qualification to get into the industry and get a job. That's pretty much ultimately what it means.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah. I think about that. Like,
is that the final bar? Like, that's the
Well, yeah. I guess you could have a sham degree no matter where you are, right? If people just said, if they just rubber stamped you and said, yeah, you understand electronics now, and they rubber stamped the degree. But ultimately, yeah, it matters. Will you get hired? Is the ultimate goal? Is the ultimate measurement? So, I guess that would be the one I would be interested in.
For some people. Some people, the bar is, can you get certification by the industry body, the Institute of Engineers or the IEEE or the Institute of Engineers Australia or whoever. For some people, that is the ultimate bar. If you can't get accredited by them, then that's it. You're useless. You don't have you are not qualified. End of story.
Right.
And in some countries, that's illegally that's the case as well. In some countries I'm aware of, that you can't work in the industry unless you're qualified through those, agencies.
Huh. So it's like almost like well, I guess we have the PE here, but that's I don't really that professional engineering.
Right? No. Here it doesn't matter a rat's ass. No,
but I mean, in civil engineering, that matters a lot, right? Like that's
totally, yeah.
And even commercial, lighting and power stuff that matters a lot as well. But
totally, yeah.
For microcontrollers, it doesn't matter.
Oh, if you're here for mains wiring, if you want to wire up a PowerPoint, then you have to be certified. End of story.
Right. Yeah, there are no other options there, huh?
No, that's it. Huh. So, depends on your goal. I mean, there's so many bars for so many people, and it's never going to be a be all end all.
Right.
It can't be.
Right.
It's impossible. So, but hey, there's a niche. There could be a huge field out there for it.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
Or are we going towards the argument that, everyone will be a contractor, everyone will be a resource. People won't work for big companies anymore. Big companies will just be hiring, a talent pool, and then it's for a job, and then boom, as soon as that job's finished, they'll, But once again,
I don't know.
Are we headed towards that? Not really. I mean, the world's pretty much going to stay the same.
Yeah,
as a general rule.
I've been doing these Google Helpouts, and they've been interesting, but they're not it's not a lot of volume, and I don't think there's just enough work and enough small chunks of things that need to get done, right? You think about the start to finish process of an electronics design, it's so all inclusive these days. Maybe it won't always be like this, but it's so all inclusive that it's like, man, if you don't have knowledge from the beginning, then you're really not serving the purpose properly, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, no, that's the same.
So, what else is new? I saw Toby Robb on. He's Facebook friends with him, and also he's a Reddit guy and a Twitter guy as well. He's been doing MQTT stuff, and I've been kind of curious about this. We've talked about this.
Right, is that his latest video? Because he's a mate of mine. He just lives up the mountains here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so he's been doing stuff with the Freetronics LED screen, and it's this fun, scrolling marquee type of screen. But basically, he's been interfacing it to MQTT servers, And I'm telling you, man, I think there's something here. I don't know. I've yet to do it yet, but I think this is on my list of things to do.
What's this MTTQ server
MQTT?
thing?
This is what we talked about not last week, but I think the week before when I got back from SolidCon. That's that real lightweight protocol. It's the one that Facebook uses for their message or for their notifications, but it's really good for like low overhead device to device communication.
Right.
And so that's what he's doing, where he'll broadcast. Like you can basically have a temperature sensor broadcast my temperature's 18C or 23C or whatever it is, and then it'll just keep doing it. And then you could subscribe with other devices like a display or something like that.
Got it.
I don't know. I think
there's quite a few solutions out there for that.
Like for the subscribing type of thing.
Yeah, I used to upload the temperature from the lab here to some service I can't remember the name of,
Okay.
And and it did graphs and it plotted graphs automatically for me and allowed users to, interact with the graphs of my data that was uploaded and all that sort of jazz, and it just worked.
Cool.
Yeah, I just plugged it all. I didn't have to write any code. It just all worked.
Well, that's nice.
Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the magic stuff.
Especially for all this internet business.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been setting up this new forum about KiCad, and it's really cool. But it's
where's this forum?
It's not live yet, so I can't tell you. I'm sorry.
Right. KiCadForum.com.
Yeah, not quite, but it'll be there near there. Yeah, and it's,
right.
But yeah, so it's called Discourse. Have you heard of Discourse?
Not really.
This guy, it's by Jeff Atwood, the guy coding horror. But basically, there's this standardized forum now. It's great, but like basically, it's the same kind of thing where it's like, it's this great solution, and it's when it works, it's great. But I fear when it stops working, I'm just totally screwed. I'm just
what? So it's a forum-y software, is it?
Yeah, it's like a new type of forum.
Oh, okay.
It's the one that
right.
Yeah, like Wayne and Lane uses them. That's who I heard about it from Adam Wolf. And there's a lot of people that have started using it as well. It's a little top heavy, but it's pretty interesting. It's
okay. Right. No, I'm a diehard here. I like the old fashioned BBS style.
Yeah,
forums.
I know, and that's good too. Yeah, I mean that's not bad.
Well, yeah. What is it? What is it? A combination? It's probably a cross combination of Reddit and Stack Exchange or something like that. Is it?
That's a good way to compare it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's just meant to be kind of all inclusive. So, but the forum software isn't the point. I mean, the point is that I'm jumping in, or like any web software for dum-dums like us, where it's just like you jump in and you kind of hope that there's either going to be someone there to help you, or that it's just going to be like a patch fix. Same kind of thing for MQTT. Some people are going to be able to dive in and jump down and actually get to the driver level and start writing drivers for low level devices. Other people that are going to, or not even low level stuff, but the high level interfacing and display stuff, and people like us won't necessarily be able to do that stuff.
No, totally. It's like my forum. If it's not available as a plugin, I can't do it. Right. If it's available as a plugin, okay, I can do it. I can install it for you. But anything above that, nope.
Right.
I'd have to learn the language and I could do it eventually. But geez, there's so much work to come up to speed on how to modify that sort of stuff. So so that's why my forum is pretty much a bog standard, install.
Right.
There's a few tweaks in there, but yeah, it's basically yep. That's right. But it's all about traction. It's all about, getting as many people to use it as possible. And if people like that format, they'll use it. If not, well, it will just be one of the millions of dead forums.
Right. Yeah. Well, and so speaking of, so National Instruments, TI now, formerly National Instruments, they have the tool WebBench, right? You've used WebBench before?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting tool. I mean, it's web based. It's not as full features as I thought it was going to be the first time I saw it, but it's
but it does some useful stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got some interesting behaviors and some, like once you click around a little bit, you can see how a switcher might react to different loads, and when you switch out components and stuff like that. They call it simulation, but I think it's not quite simulation. But
Right.
but basically they started pushing their layouts then straight out to like a Altium or OrCAD or Eagle, and basically you can once you find a circuit you like in their system, you can then hit export, and it'll push out Gerbers and everything else. Or actually, I don't even know if it's Gerbers. It might just be the layout stuff. But it's interesting because we were talking about the critical mass type of thing. So I had asked them when I saw this news release. I asked them, I'm like, oh, so what about KiCad, right? Obviously, I'm very interested in KiCad, and they're like, what's KiCad?
Yeah, right.
I'm like, oh man, Texas Instruments doesn't know what KiCad is. This is not good.
Wow.
And no, that's not fair. It's not like Texas Instruments doesn't know. It's like the group at Texas Instruments didn't know.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that is pretty bad.
I hope it changes. So,
oh goodness.
So it could be interesting though. So seeing this thing, pop out these switcher circuits, and switchers especially because they can be finicky for high frequency noise stuff. Having the layout suggestions can be very helpful for that kind of thing.
Switchers are probably, one of the trickiest, building block circuits out there.
Oh yeah, man!
Pretty
I think
much,
I think that keeps analog guys in business, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Power supplies, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. The guys that really know, not even analog, but just like the switching regulator guys. I hear that a lot, where people will say, there's that one guy at our company, he knows where to put his finger in order to make it work, and
that's it.
And once he does, it starts working. So.
Oh dear, that's great. So speaking of
good.
routing and all that sort of jazz.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Come on, can we bitch about this? We have to bitch about this. This is huge.
I don't know if it's as huge as we think it is, but yeah, let's talk about it.
No, it's not.
Interesting,
it's a tool
just to start with.
It's bullshit. Anyway, there's a free router out there that we've probably mentioned before on the show.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, freerouting.net. It's a web-based router. It's an open source,
Right.
router.
People that use KiCad will recognize the name. It's actually usually FreeRoute is the name of the tool itself, I believe. But this is the one you can download and it'll link into KiCad and it'll act as your auto router.
And it links into Eagle and other packages too. I think it links into pretty much
I think
anything.
It does. Right.
Yeah. And Zuken, one of the big players in the PCB field, they're sort of like a competitor to Altium kind of level.
Yeah.
A similar sort of.
They're like are they German? Is that right? They're like one of the big German companies?
think so, something like that.
Yeah,
one of those European countries. Anyway, sorry to all our German listeners. I should know this.
Oh. Yeah, you should for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've forgotten. Anyway, Zuken, they've gone. Oh no, we want you to. They've sent a. Well, I'm not sure if it's a cease and desist. Anyway, the Zuken lawyers have gotten onto this guy and said, wave the finger. You can't do this. We can't. We claim copyright on this software.
Right.
Because as it turns out, the guy used to work for Zuken. Like 15 years ago, we're talking 10 years before he started on this thing, right? But they're claiming copyright over it in some way, shape, or form.
Right, and it's kind of hard to follow the thread about this stuff. I mean, you guys have a thread over the EV blog forum, but like so the free router guy, basically he states that like at some point, that he used some part of the code. And so,
yes,
that apparently gets a little bit shady then, right?
Although he did develop it in his own time, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. There's something, yeah.
Right.
Anyway, he's been developing this software for like 7 years, I think, right? And he was last at the company 15 years ago, and all of a sudden, Zukin have come out of the woodwork and they've said, "Nah, you know,
Right.
You can't do this. We're going to sue your ass." And so
well,
he's
not even sue him, but just threaten him, right? I mean, really, that's what it comes down to.
They've generally threatened him in some way, shape, or form. I haven't been able to read the letter because it's not in English, so I haven't. Right. I don't have a translated version of the letter, which is scanned in, and it's on his forum. And but basically, he's not going to fight it. He said, "Look, I'm too old. I'm retired. Look." He stopped working on this software a couple of years ago, and he put it into the public domain. It's under the GNU license. It's open source, and so he hasn't worked on it for a couple of years. And he just said, "Look, I'm not going to try and fight this. I'm just, I've lost interest in this product, so to speak, and I'm retired. I just want to enjoy my retirement." So, but he will help anyone who has the means to fight Zukin. So
right. Well, and I mean, I think it brings up broader questions, especially in light of what, a big company like Tesla releasing all their patents to the public domain as well. What is the true, even in the letter of the law type of stuff, right? When you talk about what is the actual, I guess a copyright is a better example where, there are defined time limits and stuff like that. I guess patents have that too, but like even in a practical sense, right? I mean, like, does Zukin or anyone else, if you or I worked on widgets today, and then 10 years later we work on widgets in the public domain, does that mean that we're at threat of that, right? I mean,
there's a huge difference, a massive difference. So people need to understand this between what lawyers claim and what is actually enforceable in law. There's a massive... Anyone... This is something everyone needs to understand. Anyone at any time can sue you for absolutely anything, regardless if it's valid. If they've got the money and they've got the spite, they can sue you for anything. Right?
That's
anything,
correct, yes.
Even how ridiculous it is, they can take you to court. They can waste the court's time, and the court will ultimately decide you're a bunch of dickheads and this is not valid. But hey, you'll go bankrupt in the meantime, and that is that is always the fear here.
And in some situations there will be repercussions for people that sue without any standing for it, right? I mean, some jurisdictions actually, when you sue people,
some jurisdictions. They don't take sometimes it won't even get to court, right? The judge will do a pre-hearing or something, and they'll just throw it out, right? But if you've got clever lawyers and a lot of money behind you, you can tie up someone for years and bankrupt them. It's pretty easy to do.
Which is like the RCA story all over again, right? I mean, that was like the whole thing with like the RCA company, and I forget the guy's name. But basically, when he invented television, he fought RCA for lots and lots and lots of years, and then eventually just ran out of money and ran out of time. And,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's...
it's a similar thing, right? At a former company who shall remain nameless, they tried to, when I was employed, we've talked about this on the show before, similar vein. When I was employed there and signed my contract, right, part of the contract said, we own every project you've ever worked on.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And unless, and there was an unless in there, unless you document all of those projects and tell us before and include it as an addendum in the thing. So I went, wow, screw it. I knew it totally wasn't valid. There's no law that they would never win that, but I wasn't taking any chances, right? So I put together this 20-page package of all of the projects I've ever worked on, and here it is. Here's all the information, and here's all the ideas I've ever had before I started working in the company. So I went through some of my old notebooks and every idea for every project I could, even ones I hadn't started yet. I was just thinking up shit, right?
Yeah, right.
And I was including all of these ideas into this addendum, and I walked in and said, "Here, here's my signed employment contract. Plus, here's the addendum." And they go, "What's this addendum?" Well, look, read it. It's part of the what you ask for. Nobody's ever done this. Well, I am. Damn it. And they said, exactly. Okay, we don't know what quite didn't do, so I got them to sign it and, give me a copy and, well, that's it, right? There's a lot of bullshit stuff like that in this corporate world, and it's, a lot of it's not valid. So who knows if Zoo can have a leg to stand on.
Right. But, well, the downside to all of that is that it takes it until it goes to court in order to,
that's right.
to tell if people are full of crap, right? I mean, that's always the downside.
Yep. And that's the thing. That's what these big companies do. They know they're going to put fear into the little guy, and it worked this time. This guy's taken down his free routing software off his website. There's a big red message there that says, sorry, I'm not going to fight this thing. I'm just taking it down. Even though he's open sourced it, so I'm not sure what the deal is here, because he's already released his GNU software. Presumably, it's out there on the web. You can find it. You can download the source code, and you can.
Yeah, I think worst case scenario, they'd have to chase everyone who uses the code anywhere, which is totally impractical.
Right.
But I think
it's just
ultimately
crazy.
What it is it stops the progress of a program, right? That's
exactly.
ultimately what stops a lot of people, is that it's like, if it's like, oh, there's no, how it is, if there's no compiled sources or anything like that, then people are a lot less likely to use it and starts just kind of falling out of favor.
Yeah, that's right.
It stops the momentum. That's ultimately what happens. So
anyway, Zukin, bunch of bastards.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it. And honestly, I'd never heard of them before. I mean, like, I know that I probably should have, but
who, Zukin or the free routing?
No, Zukin. I've heard of free routing. Yeah. I mean, just because. Why would I use?
No, it's not a common package in the US. No, I think it's got quite a decent market in the US. Zukin.
Okay, well, I've never come across it, so
certainly not here. I don't know anyone in Australia who uses Zukin.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
No one's going to use them now because they're a bunch of dickheads and you shouldn't use Zukin.
Right.
Come and sue me, you idiots.
Avoid at all costs. Yeah.
I think we're protected under journalism laws or something.
Yeah.
We're allowed our Is
that allowed? I don't know, like the libel laws or whatever they are.
Hey, I'm just stating facts. I'm not allowed to,
Yeah,
this is a fact. This has happened. Here it is. And my journalistic opinion of them is they're a bunch of dickheads. So yeah. Screw Zukin. Anyway, that's just dumb. I mean, there was no threat to them at all.
Right.
I mean, it's free routing software that the guy had already given up anyway. It was just sitting there, He wasn't selling it, wasn't actively developing it, and it's just bullshit.
Yeah.
God. Sick of it. Yay, Elon.
Yeah. So, what about this this capacitor voltage dependency video that you made? What prompted this? And what?
Oh, what?
So you made a
right.
Actually, no. I changed my mind. I don't want to ask you about this. I wanted to mention to you. For the first time, I'd forgotten about this. For the first time ever, to me personally, I was sitting. I was at a wedding this past weekend, and I was talking to this guy sitting next to me at dinner. And we start talking. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm real into like RC stuff." So we start talking electronics and stuff like that.
Yep.
And he's like, and then eventually he comes around. And he's like, "Oh, KiCad?" He's like, "I've watched your videos before." And I'm like, "Yeah, I bet you watched more of my co-hosts before." He's like, "Yeah, I've watched that crazy Aussie dude all the time." That's the first time that's ever happened to me in like real life.
Really?
It was, yeah, man. That was it was weird. It was weird.
Yep, I'm famous on the internet, dude.
That's right. Yeah, you get the T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's up with this ceramic capacitor thing? What drove the ultimate reason to make this video? I mean, I watched the video. It was a good video. I liked it.
No, it's one of the ones that's been on my list for ever.
Yeah.
It's I just got around. I don't know. I just a whim one day, and I went, "Oh yeah, I'll do that." I remember that. Yeah, I had an idea to do that video, and I just get in the mindset of wanting to do it, and I just did it. So, nice. No, nothing prompted it as such. It just, pops in there. I was kind of overdue for a Fundamental Friday, so... Yeah, and I thought it's the reason it was on my list is because it's one of those more obscure topics that not many people know about,
Right.
And
definitely.
Yeah, it is a fundamental thing, but a lot of people don't know about. And then somebody, I don't know, I shouldn't complain about the individual comments on YouTube, but somebody complained, well, I'm a bit sick of these Fundamental Friday videos. You never do one. I'm paraphrasing. Never do one that. That doesn't surprise me. I know everything in these fundamental videos. And I'm going, well, yeah,
like they're
fundamental.
Man. Yeah.
I know it's right. It's in the title, Fundamental Friday, and
right.
And this one's about as sort of obscure as you can get for a fundamental thing. I think. I mean, there's not too many, fundamental things out there that your educated engineer wouldn't know. And this might be one of them. I know there's a lot of people out there, even experienced engineers, who don't know that a capacitor's value in capacitance can change with voltage. So I'm sorry, but that's the best I can do.
No, that's good, man. That's good. I mean, you're right. I mean, it's always that struggle between what the broad market knows and what the experts know, right? I mean, or what the experienced people know.
Right.
I had an experience last week, right? So I've been working on this ADC, right? So part of the Bench Buddy, the thing I've been working on,
right?
And I've been doing a lot of this stuff live. And I tell you, I've had some struggles with digital parts before, throwing SPI commands. So it's a SPI based ADC. It's 2-channel. It's actually a pretty nice little part. It's 2-channel. It's on the Bench Buddy. It's 2-channel ADC. It's just 2 separate ADCs.
Yep.
It can do 64 kilosamples. It can do 24-bit. It's actually meant for the power market. Have they each
got their own SPI bus?
No, same SPI bus.
Right,
but,
so share.
But you can stream. You can go. So you can actually do block reads from So you do 6 bytes at a time. You do 3 bytes from the first ADC, 3 bytes from the second. So you can stream pretty quickly, actually. And so going through all this stuff and trying to ping it with SPI bus stuff. And I'm obviously very shitty at this stuff. And so honestly, I made probably 6 or 7 videos of me trying all these different things and everything else like that.
Right.
Finally I ended up putting on my scope that has the new scope that has the digital input as well with the bus readout and all the fancy stuff. And I'm like, I have to try it.
So it took you 7 videos to dick around to get to that point where you use the tool you should have used to start with.
Well, yeah, but but there's value in looking. I was using a low-end tool, right, as well.
Oh, okay, right.
And so there's a lot of learning in there, right? Kind of going back to that thing we were talking about earlier about do you show everything or do you show the results?
Yep.
And so I put it on this fancy tool, and it still didn't work, right? So it still was crap. So basically, I was throwing the address command at it. Usually there's a control register, stuff like that. You send the address and what to do there, read or write kind of thing. And I could see that, and then nothing afterwards, nothing coming back.
Right.
And I'm like, what is going on here? I must have, I had a lot of soldering problems with it as well because I had put the wrong footprint down, as I mentioned last week. And so one night I had made 3 videos and I gave up and I went upstairs and I was talking to my wife about it and she I honestly don't remember what she said about it. And I just had one of those snap moments and I'm like,
yeah,
holy crap, the reset's been on the whole time. Oh my god! And
the pin, the reset pin.
The reset pin was held high the whole time because it was actually I didn't initialize properly because it's an active low reset, and the same shit that happens every single time. Every time a part that doesn't work, right? It's always the same
it's
thing.
An active low reset, and it was high. So what's the problem?
Or no, sorry, it was low. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was the uninitialized was low. That's what it was. Yeah, so it was active low reset, and it was uninitialized low, and so that's what it was. And I went and read it, and I'm just like, and so I've talked to my wife, and I went back downstairs, and I raced back downstairs, and I read it, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. It's just one of those.
Yeah.
Everybody's had these, right? Where it's just that one thing.
Of course.
You keep throwing everything you have at it, and it's just.
Yeah, and you spend days and days and days, and it's something ridiculously simple. That
so
if
dumb.
you methodically went through the checklist, you would have found it, but you don't. because, well,
yeah, I guess so.
It just doesn't occur to you at the time that it could be so simple.
Right.
It's
I have to say though, I always say this too. Like, I'd rather have even though I wasted probably a solid 8 to 10 hours on that kind of thing, and it really was.
Yeah.
It's always a better mistake than it's always better than oh, you ended up grounding your 5-volt power rail or something like that. Like when you actually have those much harder to fix problems, that gets much worse. But.
And you were convinced it must be a protocol issue, right?
Exactly.
You were convinced that the chip, I've got my protocol wrong, and that's why the chip's not talking back to me.
Right.
There's data going in, but there's nothing coming out, so that's what it must be.
Well, no, I was convinced it was a soldering issue because I had so much trouble with the soldering, and I replaced the part twice, and everything like that. And,
okay.
But yeah, man, but you're right. Like the mindset of you convince yourself, right? You convince yourself it's got to be this. It's got to be this thing that's wrong,
Yeah.
And then when you test it and then you try, it's this hypothesis that you prove or disprove, and once you disprove all the hypotheses, what's the Sherlock saying? It's once you remove all things, the only logical thing is the impossible, or whatever it is. I don't remember what the saying was.
Okay.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah,
And often, sometimes you're too clever for your own good, because you can think. If you're an experienced engineer, you can think of all of these things that it could possibly be, and you just go deeper down that rabbit hole of, and rather than if you weren't experienced at this, you might come along and go, I'll check the reset pin, and bang,
check all the pins, right?
Yeah, exactly, and and it's fixed in a minute. There's no issue, but sometimes you can be too clever for your own good, too experienced for your own good.
Yep.
Yeah. Totally. I lost count the number of times that's happened.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been meaning to make that. I asked you about that at one point. I remember on the show asking about checklists, and I really do need to make a checklist about that kind of thing, because there is that standard set of things that need to get done. That standard.
You're right.
I don't know.
There's an infinite number of.
Well, of course.
Permutations of the whole thing. So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting reading about, so I've been on planes, since I've been traveling and stuff. You read about, pilots and maintenance and a lot of stuff for these safety critical things. They all talk about it. As much as we think that, not even just experts, but we're intermediate people, or, we think we know what we're doing.
Yep.
Even the experts, right? The 787 pilots on airplanes, they still use checklists because it's that important,
Exactly. No, otherwise, they'd fall into the same trap we do. You'd mentally think, I've totally checked that the landing gear is down, and then we'll whack, right?
What's that scraping sound, Dave?
What's that fireball coming out the back?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. No, you have to. It's it's like the submarines. As anyone, if you're a submariner, if you've been in the Navy, that's why they repeat every command twice.
Oh,
right?
really? I didn't know that.
Without fail. Yeah. They repeat every command twice, or audible. All ahead full. And they'll repeat all ahead full. Okay. And it's so that
the one guy in the back, what? What'd you say?
What?
All ahead full. No, I said all ahead fall. We're going with fall, the fall line of clothing, right? All ahead fall.
And apparently you're trained. I don't know. I've never been in the military, but apparently you're trained to always listen for this stuff. And if you don't hear the command repeated, then I don't know. You tell someone, right? Hey, something's wrong. Somebody didn't repeat the command or whatever. Because any failure at that, when you're under the water like that, you're dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right? Safety critical stuff.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everything's repeated. Same with it. Same with the pilots, as you said. They always go through the checklists. Otherwise, they're human. They're going to forget something. Their mind, their subconscious is going to think that they've done something, but they haven't.
Right.
And crash. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the only way it works.
So, I don't know if you heard. I don't know. Do you listen to the embedded.fm, the Alicia's podcast? So Jack was on recently. Jack Ansel was on there recently, and he had this great bit about embedded engineering growing up, and he talks about this a lot now, actually, about it becoming more of a science and an art kind of thing, and
Right.
standardizing practices. Obviously, because he writes and he speaks a lot about that kind of stuff. But there was a interview with him as well. He kind of wrote about it as well. And it's that same kind of thing where it's like you move away from the more hacker, kind of tinkerer mentality into the professional side of things. And I wonder about that with electronics too. I think a lot of people do have that. It's baked into a lot of company cultures as well. But I find myself falling back into the the less disciplined side of things, and it's always that balance point of trying to figure out where does it lie. Can I make sure that I'm doing all the important stuff, and it's like when you have the rigor at every single level, right? It's like I don't need to check every single thing, right? I know the 1K resistors are supposed to be 1K resistors, but do I double check my Gerbers? Do I double check all the important things? Having the checklist where it counts, that's when it you kind of go pro at that point, right? That's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
So.
And most of the time you don't need the checklist, but it's these occasions, that it'll save you bacon.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, I think even when you think you don't need the checklist, you still need the checklist,
Right, yeah.
And that's the crappy thing about it, right? It's like it slows you down, but it slows you down for a reason.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But, in our industry where, you can argue that it's not really needed, you might waste a bit of time or a bit of money because you didn't check your PCB before, you might have to respin your board or something, but, the world's not going to end.
Right.
So... people aren't going to die.
Right. And the guys over at, there's always like the hard stuff and the soft stuff as well. Like the soft stuff, like the Upverter guys did a schematic style guide, right? So style on a schematic is a soft thing, right? It's not going to change the world, but it'll make your schematics more readable. And this is actually, it's a nice little style guide, right? They talk about standard naming conventions and, ref des type of stuff and just trying to get things up and running. They're doing it as a service for their users as well. So it's it's a nice little document about that kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing. That's a softer side of things, but then the harder side of things was did you check that the reference designators all match and that you don't have a BT part that isn't a battery, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be the hard check at that point. Assuming that you formalize these things. And I think it changes as well over time as so I think about like someone like you, Dave, who has it's just you, right? And you can do it however you want to, right? But then as you if you hired someone, or if you hired 4 people or 10 people, whatever like that, as you grow in size, that standardization also changes. You need to start expanding out as well, and it starts to change. It starts to become more required in order to make it uniform across the stuff, across the company or whatever.
Yep. Totally agree.
You have some interesting stuff. Where are you headed? You're headed somewhere tonight. We're actually going to end a little bit early tonight, which is
we're going to finish our thing on time.
On time.
Yep,
okay.
I've got to bugger off. Well, my timer just kicked over on the 1 hour record mark, but I'm not sure if the show will be exactly 1 hour, but it'll be pretty close.
Yeah, got to cut out the fat. Where are you going? Tell everybody where you're going.
No. I'm just headed. No.
Oh no, nothing fancy. Okay, I thought you were going somewhere fancy. Okay, well, I'm going to go explore San Diego more. So
cool. Yeah. All right. Have fun.
Glad we got our recording in, of course, as always.
Don't go to SeaWorld. It's lame.
Okay. I'm going to go to the zoo instead. The zoo's awesome.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I've heard the zoo's good. Yeah. Cool.
All right, man. Cool. Well, it's good talking to you.
Have fun.
And next week, we'll have Noah Feehan on from the New York Times Innovation Lab. So we'll get questions for him as well.
All right.
All right, man.
Catch you next time.
See ya.
Discovered by the Germans in 1904, they named it San Diego, which of course in German means a whale's vagina.